Boy, oh boy, it's been a crazy ride. And it's been a long time since I actually sat down in front of a camera. And I'm not going to lie to you. Although I've been doing this for so long, for you guys who actually know me, it feels weird being back in front of a camera after being gone for so long. And I'm going to take y'all through the journey that I had at Roadmaster in Dunn, North Carolina. So before I heard of Roadmaster from a friend of mine, I was looking into joining a college like course of getting your CDLs. But when I was trying to sign up for them, they wanted me to wait all the way until October 1st. Now, keep in mind, I wanted to get in now. I didn't want to wait. Didn't nobody have time to wait. When your mind is set on something, you might as well do it now and don't wait, because then procrastination kicks in, and now the thing that you wanted to do, you might find something else that you want to do instead, or you might not even do what you want to do, what you were set out to do. So after a friend of mine, they talked to me about Roadmaster. One of their boys had went to that school as well. I looked it up on YouTube and I ran past somebody's video named Slime Pack. She actually went to the school that I was looking at going to in Dunn, North Carolina, because at first I didn't even know that we had a Roadmaster in Dunn, North Carolina. I thought I would have to go like to another state to actually attend the school. But fortunately, when I searched up Roadmaster, she popped up. I looked at her video and, you know, her time going through Roadmaster and how she went through and how much she had to pay, and her experience through Roadmaster. After I watched her video, I went to go look up reviews. Now, keep in mind, the reviews that I seen were not the best reviews. People were talking about this and that. One guy was talking about that they tell you that the course is this long, and then all of a sudden it's this long. Now, let me get into this. My time at Roadmaster, when I signed up for it, you know, the lady was telling me, hey, let me get you an orientation in. Come to Roadmaster and I will show you around the place and I'll get you started. And, you know, you can let me know what to do from there. So after I signed up for it, I went Dunn, North Carolina Roadmaster, and I had my orientation. You know, that day she sat me down. She let me know everything, what it is and how they do things there at their school. She walked me around the facility and she walked me into, like, you know, their principal office, and she let me meet them. And while I'm walking around, you can see other students talking about, you know, trucking and what they were doing at the time when I joined. So a few days go by and, you know, I'm really set off to do what I want to do, and that is to get my CDLs. So what I did was took out a loan, you know, to go to Roadmaster. It was around like $7,500. If I can get a picture, I'll pop it up on the screen for you guys to see, and how much that I had to pay for my DOT physical and all of that. You know, it was around like $200. I think it was $200 to actually get everything that I needed. After all of that go down, you know, I give them, or I give her, a set date of when I want to join, because I had some things going on at the house that I wanted to get done before I actually started going to school. But she called and she was all like, you know, do you want to start school earlier? So I started school August 5th, and they let you know like when your graduation date is going to be. And my graduation date to complete all of my hours, this is not graduate as in, you know, you passed the test for your CDLs or anything like that, but it was the 5th of September. I'm talking to her on the phone and I'm thinking about, well, I got things to do at the house before I actually want to get into schooling. But then I was all like, you know what? Yeah, we can start on the 5th, because my wife was telling me, like, go ahead and start. You know, the quicker you start, the quicker you going to get out of it and get your CDLs. So I went ahead and started on the 5th. During that time, when you come in, you know, you meet everybody that's new. Matter of fact, everyone is new to at the school to you, because you don't know anybody. But I'm talking about your classmate. Now, we had like 7 people in our class. To be honest with you, I think our class was like the best. Not because it was our class, it's just because of how everybody clicked, you know, together after we learned about each other. And yeah, after we learned about each other, everybody just clicked. It was just like at the end of at the end of the schooling, it felt like you were leaving family. Let me say it like that. But first day, you know, we're going through the class. They're introducing themselves as in the teacher and you know, other people that works at Roadmaster and Dunn. And we had a teacher named Terry. I'm not gonna lie to you. Terry was amazing. This dude can teach his ass off. I'm not gonna lie. Everything that he taught us inside of class, he made us really understand it. And there's a certain way that he teaches that it really sticks to you up here. So shout outs to Terry, yo, appreciate it. If you ever watching this video, man, you did an amazing job, yo. And I do appreciate you teaching us and all the laughs and jokes that we had inside of class. You know, I know we were there to learn, but at the same time, while learning, you still need to be able to laugh and have some jokes, maybe some story time in it as well. Cause I know some people that go to school, it's like when you start learning about things, class get kind of boring and then people want to sleep. So you gotta have like that mix of the two. But anyways, like I was saying, the first day, there was like 7 of us inside the class. I knew where I wanted to sit anyway, because I was all like, you know what? I'm gonna sit at the front of the class. I need to learn all I need from this school in order to graduate and get my CDL. So that's what I did. I sat at the front of the class. After that, everybody introduced themselves. And what was funny is if he's watching the video, he know who it is. The guy that was sitting back there, my first thought is he didn't really want to talk to anybody. He was real quiet. He was to himself. But when he introduced himself and he said why he was there, he was like, I'm just here for the money. I ain't gonna lie. I started laughing because it was funny. It was funny to me because he was like dead ass telling the truth. He was like 100% telling the truth. And I was all like, that's dope. You know, some people are not trying to fake it while they're going to school and trying to become a trucker. It was just straight to the point. Hey, I'm here because I want the money. Bing, bada, boom. You know, my story was a little bit different in depth. You know, I wanted to go to school because I really wanted to be a truck driver since 2016. I used to play a game called American Truck Simulator. And if you guys know me, y'all already know, you know, I used to play that game all the time. Matter of fact, this is my chair right here for my little setup. Also, that's my setup as well, but it's not connected right now. But I play American Truck Simulator with the wheel. At one point, I had the little track IR on your head. So if you move your head in real life, you can move your head in game. So it had all the force feedback and everything. That made me really wanted to be a trucker. And plus, I have a homeboy, and he was telling me his story and his grandpa being a trucker, and he always wanted to be a trucker. So when I first started gaming and we were playing together, he's telling me his story. He went off to be a trucker. Let's just say that. If he's watching the video, he know who he is as well. But yeah, ever since 2016, I really wanted to become a trucker because of a video game, because of American Truck Simulator. I was having fun in that game. And as I'm playing it, I'm learning about trucks. Not too much, but you do learn the names of the trucks and everything and how they look in the inside. And, you know, ever since then, it's like I really wanted to become a trucker because I like the trucks. And I thought it was, I find it fascinating that, you know, this truck is pulling this big ass load. You know, I like getting the trailer around the corner. I used to love that in the game and stuff like that. And I still play it to this day. But back to the story, I wanted to become a trucker because of that. And I kept putting off becoming a trucker because I have kids and I didn't want to leave them while I'm out on the road and I'm just, you know, and I'm never home. So I was fighting a battle. I was fighting a battle of I wanted to be a trucker, but at the same time, I want to be at home with my kids. So they were clashing together. And I've always had this thought in the back of my mind, like one day I'm going to be a trucker. One day I'm going to go to school to get my CDLs. I didn't know when that day was. It was always been a thought in the back of my mind as well that I was going to wait too long and I'm going to get old and then I will want to do it, you know. But you might as well start when you're young instead of waiting until you're old. I was just having that battle with myself. And if you have kids, well, then you understand the battle of wanting to be at home with your kids and wanting to do something that requires you to be out all the time. So yeah, that was always happening. Plus, at the same time I'm having these battles, I wanted to be a content creator, play games 24/7, you know, Twitch, Kick, all of the websites I live streamed, and you know, I got pretty good at it, but there was a point where later on I wanted to do something different. So that's when all of this happened. But yeah, after I told the story and stuff like that, my story was a little bit longer. I didn't want it to drag and like waste a lot of time or anything like that. So I set that aside. But I wanted people to know that I'm getting into this for a reason, and what's my reason. And it's not just to come here to make money. Like, I'm really fascinated with all the trucks and how they move and the physics of them and stuff like that. I just didn't know everything about the truck. I didn't know anything about the truck like I know now about the truck, if that makes sense. But yeah, we're going through school, you know, we're in the class. The first week we're in the class and we're just learning the PSI. You know, we're learning about our logbooks and how to fill them out just in case if your tablet goes down. In the real world, while you're trucking, you always have to have your logbook filled out for that reason, so they can know what you've been doing throughout your week. We were learning about all of that. We also had a test at the end of the week in the class. So around like Friday, you had a test, and that's the way you get out of the classroom part. Now, I was the only one that came to school with my permit, and everybody else, whenever we took the test, our whole class passed. But whenever we took the test after that, the next week, some of them were out going to DMV to get their permit. I already had mine, so I didn't have to go out to get my permit. So now the next week comes, they throw us outside on PTI. And yeah, like, man, I'm not gonna lie to you, that second week was crazy, because if you never heard PTI, pre-trip inspection, if you never heard of PTI and heard anybody go through PTI, the first time you hear this will blow your mind. You'll be like, ain't no way I'm learning all of that. There's no way. This is nuts. So they put me outside with Dunn. And Dunn, she is an instructor at Roadmaster in Dunn, North Carolina. And I could tell, like, right off rip that she was like a good person. She always had a smile on her face every time. Never really seen her mad at all. The whole time that I'm going through school, I've never seen Don mad one time, even if, you know, we're going over the same thing 100 times and this person doesn't get it right, you know, as fast as the next person. She always had patience, and I appreciate that from her. And I let her know that the day that I graduated, I appreciate, you know, the patience that she had with us as students, and the patience that she have with, you know, students that are yet to come. You know, you need people like that in positions, because it makes you, it doesn't overwhelm you, right? It would really suck if you had an instructor teaching PTI and then all of a sudden they're just yelling at you because you can't you can't really learn as quick as the next person. You can't get this part down as quick as the next person. So my first day outside, I'm the only one with Don. Then a girl comes up and she's about to do her test. So the second day that I'm in, you know, school is her last day in school, basically. So she comes up and she does all PTI and in-cab. And I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck did I just hear? Like, literally, I didn't know what I was hearing. I was like, there's no way that I'm learning all of this within a week. There's no way. As time went by that first day, people started slowly coming in that was in my class that, you know, they're coming back from the DMV. Whether they passed or failed, they're still coming back to school to learn PTI. And, you know, throughout the whole day, we're saying the same thing over and over, but it's still just so much to learn, you know, not cracked or broken, not leaking, you know, all of that. It was like, man, this stuff is way too much. There's no way I'm getting past this part. But I had certain people inside the class that maybe some learned a little quicker than others. Some of us got together, you know, and we went through the truck together and we learned the parts together. I think when it comes down to PTI, you literally have to, you know, just narrow down things. You got to learn the part first, because if you never heard of a pitman arm or a drag link or a steering knuckle or a tie rod, you're not going to know this stuff. you have to get down the name of the part and then work on to other things. Is it metal? So if it's metal, it's not cracked or broken, you know? So that's how I learned. I learned the front of the truck first, and then I worked my way to the back. Now, that was a Monday. By Tuesday, I'm going home, pacing back and forth in the house, literally just saying this stuff in my head. No, matter of fact, I was saying it out loud. And my wife like, what are you doing? And I look at her, I'm like, if I tell you, you wouldn't understand. So just let me pace back and forth and just, you know, say this stuff out loud so I can learn this stuff. So that's what she did. She let me just pace back and forth through the house looking crazy. And that's what I did. And by Wednesday, I tested out a PTI with 100%. Now, remember, Monday, I thought to myself that I couldn't do it. Wednesday, I'm already out of it. And it's crazy because it's so much that you have to learn in PTI in such a short amount of time. But when you're determined to do something, you will always find a way to do it. It's up to you as the person that wants their, you know, their CDL to put in the extra time to learn things. And I put in the extra time to learn things whenever I went back home and I wasn't at school, and I learned, you know, I studied myself. This how bad it was. And I'm not telling no lie. This how bad it was. Going through PTI, when I would go home and go to sleep, I would literally wake up thinking about PTI throughout the whole night. Just randomly wake up thinking about PTI. And it was crazy. It was to the point where I just wake up and in my head, I'm saying it's not cracked or broken. It's properly mounted and secure. And I'm naming the different parts of the truck without seeing it now. I'm going through the truck without physically looking at it, just in my mind. Once I knew that was happening, I noticed that I was learning this stuff. So yeah, like I said, by Wednesday, I was out of it. And that was my second week. So after you get out of PTI, you're on the backing pad. The backing pad, you know, shout outs to Dan, shout outs to Joe. Even though I didn't have Kelly, shout outs to her because she's cool. I didn't have her one time though. That is crazy, but I've talked to her multiple times. That was crazy. And shout outs to Silas. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. When I just like off topic, but when I first met Silas, I thought I wasn't gonna like him because of something that he said that was like, why would he just butt in our business like that and just say that? I had Silas all like misunderstood, right? So the day that I finally, you know, had him as an instructor, complete opposite of what I thought. Let me just say he's a good dude. He just got his own way of teaching, his very own unique way of teaching while he's on the backing pad. And you might hear him yelling. If you ever attend Dunn, North Carolina, Roadmaster, you might hear him yelling. That does not mean he's mad. That's just the way he teaches. And he teaches very good. And he's a very good driver and a storyteller. And I just want to say that. And back on the backing pad, we have an instructor named Joe. Now, Joe, man, he goes through everything detailed, so detailed. It's like you will get it. You will get these backing maneuvers just like that if you just listen to what he say and really pay attention and not just like slacking off on your phone or going to go sit down. And keep in mind, when I joined, it was hot outside. It was literally baking outside. It was so hot outside, yo. There's some days that I felt like I was going to pass out, and I just had to keep on drinking water. Just keep the water on me, like dead ass. I was pouring it on my arms. I was like pouring it in my hand, wiping on my face. It was so hot outside because there was no shade out there. And we're just back there, you know, backing up, and we're just standing there listening to him teach, and we're standing there watching other students back up. Some students are backing up and learning slower than others. So sometimes when a student is in a truck, sometimes they're in that truck for longer than the next student that just gets out of back up, right? So Joe really teaches really well when it comes down to backing up. Now, he does sometimes, you know, yell but he does make you think about what you're doing. You know, he asks you questions while you're in the driver's seat backing up. He's asking you like, what do you think? What are you going to do at this moment? What are you thinking about? He really makes you think while you're sitting in that seat, because I ain't going to lie to you. Sometimes I was fighting a battle in that seat. Everything looks different from inside the seat than when you're outside of the seat, you know, outside watching a person back up. Everything, all of the perspectives is totally different. And that's what a lot of people need to understand. Just because you see somebody do something on the backing pad, That doesn't necessarily mean that you can jump in that truck and really actually do it yourself. Matter of fact, you will probably mess up worse than the other person did. And you're sitting out there talking about, well, this person can't even back up. Now it's your turn to get in the driver's seat. Now you understand what's so crazy. So although that I came from American Truck Simulator and not understand how to move a trailer, if you want the trailer to go right, you turn left. If you want it to go left, you turn right when backing up, and you want the trailer to like really cut hard. There was sometimes I'm sitting in the seat and I'm really having a battle with myself. Like I'm looking at the trailer. It looks like I want it, it is where I want it. This is when I first started off, and it's not going to where I really want it. So yeah, just remember, everything looks different inside the seat. Don't just automatically say that you got this, because sometimes you might not. But if you listen to the steps, like I said, you will get it. And like I said, shout out to Joe for teaching us how he teaches, and, really making us understand how these trailers work. Every one of them, even shout outs to Jimmy as well. Jimmy was on the backing pad as well. And every one of them have their own way of teaching. Some of them are more hands-on. Some of them explain a little bit, a little bit more in depth. Some of them just allow you to do what you were taught, and will let you mess up, because if you don't allow somebody to mess up, they will never understand what they're doing wrong, right? So yeah, some of them actually just sit back, relax, and when you mess up, they just let you know on the walkie, hey, you're out of balance on the right, you're out of balance on the left, or they'd be like, you're out of balance, pull up and then steer hard to the left, stuff like that, or steer hard to the right, put some more bend in your trailer, and stuff like that. So it's not necessarily that they let you do what you want to do, but they want you to think about the things that you are doing, and they want to give you a chance to do maneuvers. Now, sometimes when I want a chance to do maneuvers, I would just tell the instructor, look, let me do it. Let me mess up so I can understand where I messed up at, and then let's talk about it. Let's talk about it after. But I need a chance to do it, because if not, I would never know how to do it. Like Silas said, you can back up and understand the system, but can you do it without going by the system? You can do the backing maneuvers when somebody is telling you how to do it. Cut hard right, cut hard left, one full turn, pull up straight. You can get that trailer in there every time when one of those instructors is telling you what to exactly do step by step. But when it's your turn to do it, can you understand the system well enough where you can actually do it yourself, and you're not depending on the steps, step by step, because there's some situations where you can't go step by step. You literally have to read the trailer where it's going, if you understand what I mean. You literally have to read the trailer and know if it's too much bend, or if it's not bending enough, or if it's not turning enough. And you got to understand how to manipulate the trailer just a little bit more to make it go where you want it to go. So I love when Silas says something like, we're teaching you the system, but can you do it without depending on just the system? And I understood everything that he said when he said that. I was like, yeah, wow. That's some real shit, to be honest with you. You're right. You can go do something by the system and know how to and do it. But do you understand the system? Can you do it without depending on the system? So yeah, I started learning how to back up way better. I started not getting out and actually just backing up and putting the trailer where I wanted to put it. And the only way I was able to learn that was doing it. Just let me know if I messed up. That's all you got to do. Just let me know if I messed up. And then after that, I can figure out where I went wrong. Now, also, I want to say it's up to you as the person that wants their CDL to put in the time and effort into learning how to do this. Like I said, if you're sitting down, if you're not paying attention, if you're not listening, if you're not looking at another person, backing up, you get out what you put in. That's what I could say about that. But yeah, the back maneuvers, you got the alley dock, You got offset left and right. You got parallel left and right. And then you got straight back. So straight back is going to be your bread and butter. That's straight back is going to be in every maneuver that you do. That straight back is everything, because you cannot put the trailer in where you want to put it if you don't know how to straight back properly. And make the trailer go where you want it to go. And I could tell you, by playing American Truck Simulator, there's certain things that I was doing, but I never understood why I was doing it. I just did it because that's how I got the trailer where I wanted in game. Now, they get more technical with it. While you're sitting in the driver's seat, they make you understand what you're actually doing. So when you're straight backing, you steer towards the problem. If you got your mirrors set properly, if you see the trailer more, like the side of the trailer more in one mirror, you steer to that problem. If you see the trailer more in your left mirror, you steer to that problem. If you see it more in the right mirror, you steer to that problem, and you just balance it as you're going back. Now, I was doing that in game, but I never fully understood why I was doing it, right? I never came to a conclusion that, oh, I'm steering towards my problem. They made me realize that's what you're actually doing. And it's just like, damn, it's like a eye opener. It's just like, wow, I never thought of it like this. Because in the video game, I'm just backing up and it's straight in, But I never thought to myself, I'm steering towards the problem. I never thought that at all. So they taught me a lot of things that I never actually knew, but I was doing it anyway, but I never knew why I was doing it, if that makes sense. You got a couple of days to evaluate out and, get your proficiency in all of those backing maneuvers. So a couple of days in, I get my proficiency in all of them and I eval out. Now, when you eval out, now you're on, now you could be on the road. But I did see a lot of people on the road when they didn't evolve out of, everything on the backing pad, because it's one thing backing up the trailer, right? It's another thing going forward with it. I think really anybody could drive the tractor without a trailer on it. It's just like driving a car. If you're bobtailing, right? You're actually driving the trailer. You're not really driving the tractor, because anybody can drive that by itself. You have to understand the trailer, how to keep that trailer on the road and how to make your turns and stuff like that. When we're on the road, this is the part that I'm like, yeah, I finally can say that I've driven a truck and not just in a video game. I kind of forgot who the first person that I went out with. I want to say it was Joe, the same person that they put me on a backing pad the first week, because they all, flip flop, and one moment they're on the backing pad, one moment they're on the road. So I think it was Joe, and Joe goes through a lot of things whenever you're on the road. He lets you know how to make turns, and it's just a blast. You're in the truck sometimes with another person, and sometimes you're in the truck with 4 people. They got like seats in the back where the beds are, where the sleeper is. While you're in the back sitting, you're doing observation. Now, observation, of course, you're watching the other person drive, right? And you can learn a lot through watching another person drive. And then when you're driving yourself, well, then you're, of course, you're driving. So you're going to get like 20 drives. You're going to get like 17 drives in a day, and then you get 3 drives at night. The driving part was really nice. I'm not going to lie. It was really nice because now you're understanding how far you have to go out. And everybody got their own way of teaching when it comes down to driving. Some people teach you to turn when the front of your trailer hit the yellow line and then you start turning. Some people teach you to turn like when your shoulder hit a line and then you start turning. Some people tell you to watch the tandems. And like depending on what person you have when you go out to drive, they're going to tell you something different. But it's up to you as the person to be like, okay, what better suits me? Which one of these instructors instructions are better for me? So what I was doing is I was taking bits and pieces of this person, what they say, this person, what they say, that person, what he say or she say, and I will mix it all together. And it helped me throughout my journey of learning how to drive the truck or the trailer. It helped me in a lot of ways. There's so many things that I didn't know whenever you drive a truck. Now, like when you're in school, you got to call out your hazards on the road while you're driving down the road. Hazard approaching. Those are cars are coming towards you. Clear left or right. That's on streets and stuff like that. And if you see a car at a stop sign while you're going past, you got to be like hazard on the right or the left, whichever way they are. You got to watch out for so many things. And while you're trying to drive this truck, you're saying all of this stuff. You're constantly just talking, you know. Sometimes it get overwhelming because at first, when you first jump in, you're trying to get used to the truck. You're trying to see if you can actually handle the truck. But on top of that, now you got to say hazards and stuff like that. And it's like conflicting with some things. So I'll give you an example. One time I was driving and there was a dump truck coming towards us. So I'm like hazard approaching, but I'm like focused on the dump truck, right? And the instructor looked at me and said, "You missed that road sign." And I looked at him and I said, well, I missed that road sign because I'm so focused on this dump truck coming towards us. It's like I don't want to like veer off and talk about this road sign, and I'm new to doing this. You know, I'm new. It's like my second day of driving. I'm still very new of driving an 18-wheeler. So I'm worried more about the dump truck that is coming towards us than a street sign that says road work ahead. Of course, I can see it on the corner of my peripherals, right? I don't know exactly what it's saying because there's truck that I'm paying attention to. I would rather pay attention to something like a truck coming towards us than a street sign, you know, that's sitting there on the side of the road that if I hit that street sign, it's not going to do anything. But if I hit this truck, we got a problem. We got a major problem. So yeah, I told them that. And I think like sometimes you just got to correct the instructors, because you got to remember these instructors been driving on the road. They know how to handle the truck. They've been driving for years. Some been driving for 11 years. Some been driving for 5 years. You know, it varies. They're already used to the truck. When you're a new driver, there are certain things that you got to get down, you know, down pat first. And the first thing for me was focusing on driving, keeping this thing on the road. You know how to drive a car or SUV, but these things are totally different than driving a car and an SUV, because you got to remember you're pulling this trailer that is 53 foot long, and if you turn too early, that trailer is going to go either on the oncoming lane or off the side of the road, depending on which way you're turning. So in my head, I'm fighting a battle of keeping this truck on the road and calling out my hazards, and they're just conflicting with each other, because I'm just like, man, there's so many things. Sometimes there's so many hazards on the road sometimes, and of course you see them with your eyes, but it's so hard to call them out because you're focused on keeping that truck on the road when you first start off. But by the time, you know, I was at my 17th drive, it was totally different. It was like, I've been driving a truck, right? You're still new at it, but when you get that 17th drive in, you're a little bit better than what you were when you had that first drive. So yeah, like the drives were nice. The person that I really liked driving with was Jimmy, and I liked driving with Silas. Silas was cool. He was talking to me. He was telling me a story and stuff like that. He was working on like a comic book and stuff, and he could tell a story to the T. Man, it was like I was seeing a movie in my head while he was just telling the story with his mouth. So yeah, like it was crazy, man. And Silas, I started observing whenever he was driving. He said he hauled beer, so he got a certain way of driving. I like the way that he was driving, so I try to like copy his style of driving. But I'm pretty sure you just got to switch it up, because at the same time I'm trying to copy his style of driving, and we have an empty trailer. So if that trailer was loaded, well, then it would be a different style of driving, So I was trying to copy his style of driving while we were unloaded and stuff like that, because you don't get loaded while you're at school. You're just pulling around an empty trailer. But you still get the feeling of pulling something. Yeah, with all that said, the driving was nice. The only part that I really didn't like was observation, where you're in the back of the truck and you're just sitting there for hours, depending on how many people you got in that truck. It's really boring, bro. Like, you're just sitting back there bobbing up and down, the chair bouncing every time you hit a bump. And some people get motion sickness back there because of the way it looks. It feels like you're in like a little tight room and you just see the windshield in the distance. You can't predict what the person that's driving is doing. So it's messing with your mind. I never really got motion sickness, but I know a lot of people said they felt like kind of queasy back there, so they will open up the window, let some air in. Sometimes you need that air to come in to cool you down, or to make you stop feeling like you're about to either throw up or you feel dizzy. So yeah, I had a blast in the truck. I'm not gonna lie. Not one time I went to sleep back there. I was always up watching the person drive, because I cannot go to sleep while somebody else is driving. That's just something that I can't do. While we're driving, you do go to like rest stops. I know we've been to a couple of rest stops, and then we went to like truck stops as well. And I can say that visiting a truck stop in a truck is totally different than when you just visit it in a car. It is two different feels, man. I got the feel of now how truckers feel when they're in the truck stop. There's so many trucks. There's barely anywhere to stop to park. Sometimes you can't even get into the pump because people are just sitting there doing God knows what inside the store while they're just sitting at the pump. But it was a good time. It was a good time every time we just go to the truck stop. We will go in there, maybe get drinks, we get snacks or something like that. We might even do it like an in cab while we were sitting there. I do remember doing the in cab while we were like right next to these people. I guess they were on the road all night, and we're doing an in cab, smashing on the brakes. You know how the brakes sound if you're familiar with trucks, making all of that sounds and noises and stuff. Blowing the city horn, blowing the highway horn. And I look over to my right, and I would never forget the way that this guy looked at me. And I gave him a thumbs up, and he looked at me with the most like fucked up look and just shook his head and turned around. I started laughing because I was like, damn, I just gave this dude a thumbs up. We trying to be like new truck drivers. We're trying to get our CDLs. You would think another trucker would be like, hell yeah, let's go. But I get it from his point of view. He might have been driving all night. He might have been tired. And we woke him up by doing our in cab right next to his truck. But at the end of the day, you know where you at. You at a truck stop. You should be used to stuff like that. So I wanted to tell the dude his Peterbilt was nice, because I'm pretty sure it was like a 2024 Peterbilt, but it looked like the older models. But it was brand new. But the way he gave me that look, I just didn't want to say nothing to him. So yeah, I looked over, I told the instructor, and it, he just started, oh well, you know where you at? You know where you at? We're at a truck stop.